Laura.
Yes.
My first employee.
One of the first.
One of the first. Let's just talk about how we found fitness, or this kind of like phase of fitness in your life, and then how you found Pharos and how you came to be with Pharos.
Okay, so I started in the CrossFit world like many of us. I was working at CrossFit Hollywood after college. That was like one of my first jobs post-college.
Shout out Andy Thompson.
Andy Thompson, hi. And was coaching, doing some admin, eventually was managing that CrossFit gym, and met Emily through the CrossFit world, another CrossFit gym, CrossFit Mindset. Hi, Alan. I was also working I met you through CrossFit Mindset.
Yeah.
So we kind of became fast friends. I fell in love with fitness, mostly for the community, like a lot of us, just like in our, early 20s, were meeting a lot of our friends. I met my husband through CrossFit. So that was just like kind of the love of my life at the time, was the fitness world. And you guys asked me to come on very early on to help Pharos grow. I was doing all of the administrative stuff at that time. I was a manager, but I wasn't responsible for managing any of the coaches or the programming or really anything fitness related. I was purely administrative, which is where I shine. That's what I wanted to be doing. I think I have just a temperament and a personality that's much more, caters to that type of stuff, which you guys saw right away and asked me to come on board, and I did. And we've grown very quickly since then.
See, me and Emily, we're both very creative. We're both very headstrong. We just kind of like do things, but we need someone to rein us in and have a more kind of like organized approach to the growth of the company, which Laura has been our kind of like rock in that world. And Laura moved to Austin in 2021. 2020.
Yeah.
And I remember it happening, and Laura's like, moved to Austin. I said, please don't leave me. This will not work without you. So we kept Laura on, and she's been working remotely from Austin for all these years and doing a fantastic job. In terms of your own fitness journey, where are you now? You're a mother of 3. Yes. You have a very busy schedule. How do you fit in fitness in your life?
I think that it has just become such a non-negotiable for me. Like, it doesn't matter how busy my day is, I need to move my body. I'm just a better mom, a better employee, a better wife, just all around. My brain functions better, I'm more motivated, and I'm happier when I'm able to move physically in one way or another. So usually that still looks like CrossFit for me, or running. But sometimes that's just like stretching for 10 minutes or just squeezing in whatever I'm able to do. So I feel like once you kind of get over that hurdle of it just becoming such an integrated part of your mental health and well-being, that it's non-negotiable. And even if I'm busy, I squeeze it in one way or the other.
And what would you say, and last question, what would you say is your greatest contribution to Pharos? And where would you like Pharos to be in 3 years?
My greatest contribution, that's hard. I don't mean to toot my own horn by any means, but I feel like I've contributed a lot just because I've been there for so long, and I've been a part of the growth all along the way. And because I was the original purely administrative role, I've kind of had my hands in literally everything that we've done. So in terms of greatest contribution, I think probably just like you were saying, reining in your ideas and energies and Emily's ideas and energies, and just trying to have a really logical filter of the excitement and the passions that you guys bring as leaders of the organization, kind of having that level of just logic and thinking through potential problems and helping you guys filter out the ideas and implement the ones that we see kind of being the most fruitful for our business. So probably just being that filter for you guys and the implementation.
When I think about it, as anybody knows who runs a business, ultimately a lot of it comes about systems, especially when you're thinking about growth. And I don't think any of the systems would be where they are without you. I think, you systemizing everything we do has
trying to keep up.
Has just been such a huge part. And obviously we're incredibly grateful for you. If you were to look at this company in 3 years, what would your kind of like hope for us be?
3 years ago, I think we were really, really excited about growth and just really thinking about expansion and feeling like we were in a really solid place and ready to grow. And like many small businesses, I think the actual implementation of the growth has been really challenging. And we've seen new challenges and new obstacles that we weren't necessarily expecting. And I feel like we're kind of in a catch up and fix things phase right now. So maybe I'll feel differently in a year or two from now, but for me, the next 3 years are less about expansion from where we are right now to catching up to all the expansion that we've done in the past 3 years and making sure that everything is running smoothly, streamlined, profitable, that our team is happy, and just that we're feeling really grounded and like we have a solid foundation for whatever the next phase of growth looks like, but hopefully not anything massive in the next couple of years.
Yeah. But maybe Austin, Texas.
But maybe Austin.
Love you, Laura. Thank you.
Love you too. Thanks.
So Tori is my glamorous creative director.
So glamorous.
Actress, creative director, multi-talented artiste.
Yes.
How did you find Pharos, and how did you find fitness first, and then how did you find Pharos? What was your kind of road into fitness?
My road into general fitness was I had too much energy as a kid, and my mom would make me run laps around the house.
Yeah.
I always had to exert myself in order to focus and rest, and then I just was very athletic growing up. I mean, I'm built like a giraffe, so I did volleyball, swimming, track, soccer, forced into basketball, the usual stuff. But I never trained in a gym. It was always exertion of energy and teamwork. And
so sports, like team sports.
I like competition. I like playing in a team. I think that's what led me to classes, is I found it really hard to just go, and it felt not like you sit when you work out, but it felt like go sit and work out. Like that's how it felt to go to the gym originally. And I think if no one's taught you how to approach a gym, you're just going off of whatever feels fun, and classes feel fun. So that's how I got into doing classes. And then I found Pharos because I moved to LA from New York, and I'd started lifting during the pandemic thanks to an ex of mine. And I wanted to keep lifting. I had never done that before. I never felt that strong before. And so I went to Pharos, and Arthur did my intro and really impressed me. And then Alex was my first coach in class. And he reminded me so much of my older brother, and his class was so fun. And the first thing he said to me is, "Hey, good morning, I'm Alex, nice to meet you. Where are you from?" And talked to me. And I was like, "Oh, you're actually paying attention." And then he corrected my deadlift, which I appreciated. And then he would check in on me throughout the class. And then other people in the class would talk to me. So it wasn't just elites only in this class. And then afterwards, he came up and was like, "Hey, I'm Alex. I coach Monday, Wednesday, Friday at this time for Build. I'd love to see you back here again. It was really nice to meet you. I hope you enjoyed the class." And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." And then it just kind of went from there. Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah, he did a great job. Thanks, Alex. And what made you want to be involved in kind of the social media side and ultimately become the creative director of this company?
The true answer is poverty. No, I was in class, and I had done social media before, and I think out of a real dedication for my mental and physical health, I was I want to afford to have this level of quality of space and community in LA, especially being new to in what my opinion is from a New York kind of place, a very isolating city.
Yeah. And
so the priority of wanting to be a part of Pharos and being able to afford it, motivated me to apply and put my name in the, hat of choices. And then I had previous experience in social media. And for me, if I can't be challenged or interested in something, I'm just not going to do it. Right. That is the truth. And so, doing social media, being a creative director, being a part of problem solving is directing and producing, which I do.
Yeah.
And so it's just another field and outlet where I learn constantly, whether I like it or not. And so it just really keeps me moving forward. And so I'm never bored.
Yeah, I think for me, because, the vision of Pharos was a very kind of cinematic vision, because, I came into it basically through the movie stuff, and my ideas behind it were initially kind of in that world. Of, how do I prepare people for screen? Kind of my initial, thought process. And then, of course, when it comes to the social media and what the vision of the business from the outside, or what it looks like, because of, it came out of Hollywood, and, that whole world is a very kind of like cinematic presentation, and that's how I want it to feel. And to have someone who's obviously in that world, as an actress, and understands that world when it comes to direction and production, I think it all fits together. And I think we've gotten better and better at that as time has gone by, and obviously we're always working on it. There's so much we would like to do in terms of like apparel, and we have all these ideas, and obviously money is always a constraint.
Money is always a constraint.
I think we're all on board with like having, this isn't just about the gym.
No.
This is about like a bigger thing, a bigger vision of fitness, and I want that vision to be a very like well-presented cinematic vision. And I think your talent and your creative brain as an artist helps, present that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because Pharos is like the active lesson of there's three ways you write and make a film. There's what you write, what you shoot, and what you edit. And Pharos is a constant edit.
Yes.
It's a constant edit of like the story, because if you go too commercial, too high powered, then people don't think you're approachable. If you go too like kitschy and community, then you look kind of tacky, you don't seem professional. Yeah. And like each Pharos has its own community and personality. And so and social media constantly changes, and you also don't want to do everything that everyone else does. So you were like, I've been in like a 3-year edit of a feature film of Pharos, and it's very interesting.
The thing for me is like, I think the most interesting thing about any social media presentation is the ability to tell good stories.
Yeah.
And I think the most success we have in social media is when we do tell good stories.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with movies. It's the same thing with TV. The best things are the ones that tell good stories.
Yeah.
They're the most interesting.
Yeah.
We get, drawn into someone's story, and it's interesting to hear about someone's story.
Yes.
So if we can continue to tell stories of like our members and our members' journeys and what that looks like in Pharos and as it relates to their lives.
Yeah.
I feel like that is the real power of what we can do.
Absolutely. I think also social media in its current phase is almost like a self-help book. And so people go to it for guidance, for reassurance, for like that one perfect, like, like sotto voce, like kind of like, today's the day that you start the day today. It's almost like, that's exactly what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting is like, we try to hit all markers of it, but the posts that always do the best are my, like, where I get like really on my soapbox about like being like the beacon, or like, like I made a post with Andre yesterday that I was like, let this be the place where you let it all out and like leave it here with us. Like we can take it.
Yeah.
And that'll get like 3,000 views.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we'll do like these other ones that are like, this is the perfect deadlift, which people save, but then it's like no one wants to do the homework. They want to come to us because they want to feel like I know that in your hands, I can relinquish enough to know that I trust you to get me where I need to be to make it through today.
Yeah.
And that's a really interesting point to be in as a gym to like communicate.
Well, I always, because when I do the Pac Perspective, I talk a lot about chapters and the chapters of our lives. And I like to think about Pharos as a place where you can come and prepare for your next chapter, whatever that might be. And it's not like, our lives are not one long linear journey. Like things change. Like maybe we start families, maybe we have kids, maybe we change jobs. Maybe I do have a role that I need to prepare for. Maybe I change jobs. Whatever it is, we want to be a place where you can prepare for the next chapter of your life and what that looks like.
Yeah.
For some people, it might be like, I'm turning 50, like I need to make a change. Like, So again, when it comes to like storytelling, I think we have the ability and the, the gift really to present those stories and give people the opportunity to create that new chapter in a better way. That is enhanced by the community, the environment, the equipment, the coaching, the programming, all those things come together to really, give people that opportunity and give us the opportunity to do that in a way that makes us feel rewarded and proud.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think people want to be reassured that they're investing in the right thing. Right. Which the right thing has to be changeable. Yes. And I think we've proven over 8 our poster says 8 years, but like 9 years, that, we will change and adapt to what you need. Yeah. We will change and adapt to a giant international pandemic. We will change and adapt to LA setting on fire, going through COVID, going through strikes, like our economy in our city, like dwindling and being like, we're here. What do you need right now? Yeah. Like maybe right now, these next 2 months, you need to sit in a quiet room and breathe. Yeah. And I know that we have bars that you can do like chin ups on, but today you're going to come sit and breathe with us. And I think that's like the power of what Pharos communicates or tries to remind people of and communicate, is that we're here for the variety and we're here for the long haul.
For sure.
Yeah.
If you were to look at like big picture for a creative direction over the next 3 years, if you were to look at the company from the outside, what would you want the company to look like in 3 years' time?
In 3 years' time, I would want us to have, in 3 years' time, I would want us to be a staple in each community where we live. I would want our merch to be full and high quality and people to be wearing it around the city. Like I would love to be at like the Hollywood Farmers Market and see someone wearing a Pharos tee. Yeah. And I think I would love to have, bigger and better guests on our podcast. I think people listen, and I think it's really interesting. Like fitness can sometimes be embarrassing if it's not your personality. Like people want to be secretly fit, where like you don't know that behind the curtains you look like this for 2 hours of the day, that really you just walk around and you're like, I'm just like this strong. And like people don't really like to share it because it's uncool to care and to invest and sweat and mess up and grunt and do all these things unless it's part of your personality. And I think I would want a little bit more public Pharos pride. And I think that comes with the podcast. I think we have so many people who like want community and want that connection and want to be like, I love Pharos. And I think the podcast, everyone has a podcast now, but I do think that like it is a really specific outlet that isn't out there. Like you can come and listen, whether it's in your car or like in your room or something, you can come and listen and learn something that'll help you get to 50. Yeah. And that's very rare nowadays. Everything is much more conversation up for grabs. And this is like very factual, tried and true. Like, here's the secrets. Like, I know you think we're pricey. Listen to our podcast at least. Yeah. Yeah. Let me like help you get where you need to be.
Yeah. So for me, the podcast has multiple levels, but one of the levels is the storytelling. Yeah. So it allows me to go deep into someone's story and really find out about, how did this happen? What makes you tick? And then the other thing is just the ability to present information in a deeper way. Yeah. Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. You've got a paragraph, or you've got a quick 30 seconds to
you have like
something.
30 seconds to get someone's attention.
To get some attention, whereas the podcast allows me to go a lot deeper and have a much longer conversation, which...
And I think things are turning back to that. Like YouTube has become like people are like, I'll watch YouTube. I'm like, you're watching TV. Yeah. Like we are going back to what it was 20 years ago. Yeah. It's just in a different outlet.
People want long form content. Yeah. But I think people are sick of kind of like the surface level of stuff, and they want to go deeper into the nuances of everything and really understand something. And also like there is like at least for my generation, which is supposedly the majority, the 30-year-olds are supposedly the majority right now. We're messing everything up. We're like obsessed with protein. We don't care about fiber. Like it's all over the place. But like we very much are looking for the truth. And I think even now, like this is such a side thing, but like the concept of AI, or that you Google something and you'll probably get an average of truths. You won't get a solid truth. Right. And I think like you come here and it's like, we are a simple truth. You want to know nutrition, fitness, mobility, and longevity? This is the simple truth. I promise you, this is it. There's a great quote by Henry Rollins, which is basically that you can have all this shit going on in your life, but 225 pounds will always be 225 pounds. That's just what it is. Like, that is what it is. Like, you want to be really strong, that's great, but you still have to stretch your hip flexors. Right. That's you can be giant on top and then not be able to get upstairs when you're older because you have to have mobility. Like, there are certain true things that are just, that is it. That is the human body. That is biology. That's it. And the one gift that we have as this AI thing comes in is that AI can't do fitness for you. It can't make you strong. Like you're going to have to do this yourself. Yeah. So we hold on to that reality, Yeah.
And I think that's what's great is like we are personal training in a class format. Like we just did a class right now where at the end, Emily was helping a member stretch and come down from the workout as an individual, not just like everyone do the stretching. Like she had an issue, I think, with her shoulder. And so she stepped in and was like, this is what you need as a person. And that's the difference. Because you can go to like a kickbox class and they'll be like, okay, ladies, let it have it. And I'm like, you're going to hate yourself 2 days from now. It's not going to feel good later. It's not going to last. Yeah.
Right. For sure. Well, Tori, we love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for the great workout. Yeah. Now I'm going to go shower.
Yeah. Okay. A young man with a lot of responsibilities. How are you? How you feeling?
I am sensational. I'm actually limitless. Yeah.
So, we've been friends for a while, obviously. When we first met, you obviously weren't working for Pharos. Now you are working for Pharos. And not only you work for Pharos, you're the general manager of Pharos Palm Springs, which, again, is a huge responsibility for a 26 now?
26.
26-year-old guy. Obviously, you're the general manager, and a lot of your employees are older than you, and it's a hard dynamic to deal with. What have been your biggest challenges since taking on this role?
Ooh, that's a loaded one. So, truthfully, this is my first time doing this kind of job. Like I've had management positions, but a gym with 27,000 square feet and tons of members and a diverse staff, that's a whole different beast. So I guess one of the big challenges has been learning how to be a leader for a diverse group and learning to be receptive to members because everyone has different thresholds for things, right? And you might get a comment about something like, oh, this needs to get fixed. And for you might be like, oh, that's totally fine. But being able to take it the way that, like, when you walk in the doors here, right, you want a polished experience. And when people are paying that price of admission, which is very steep here, that kind of brings things back in perspective. It is pretty steep. It is pretty steep. But I think that's been the one of the challenges, which is listening to our members, listening to our staff, and just being a leader that is with the group, as opposed to seeing it from another perspective, which is like, oh, I'm in charge of people, which is never the case. The other thing is the commute. The commute, driving from Idlewild is a pretty big challenge.
Yeah, me and Josh, we both live in Idlewild, obviously up the mountain. When I first met Josh was a climber for years, a climber and a runner, and then committed to a bodybuilding show, did a bodybuilding show, and now is kind of like, trying to find a new kind of like space in fitness, which is more to do with like general fitness and just feeling good and doing some climbing and doing some lifting, and kind of like bringing all those things together. What are your hopes for the next year with your kind of fitness journey?
Honestly, my biggest hope right now is to just find a place of balance, because going from a background of like climbing and running, where like I didn't have a routine, there was no training program. It was just like, oh, it's sunny out today, like I'm gonna go climb, or like whatever. And then getting into a bodybuilding thing where I had a coach and was eating the same 5 meals, and those are two completely different things, and it's tough when you're pendulating. You're swinging between two things so much. So for me, just finding balance with like hobbies that are outside of the gym, also still working out, because like it feels good to be jacked and to like be strong and move. And also like balance all the other responsibilities, which is like one of the other challenges of the management role, which is I know this for a fact, all the people who are in management roles at Pharos all wear many hats. You're coaching classes, you have PT, you have a sales role. So we're all we all have diverse backgrounds and skill sets. So trying to balance that beast with all the other things that I want to do in my life, and still have a social life and be a present partner for my girlfriend and our 5 pets is that's the challenge. So
you need to give up your social life. That's over for you.
I gave that up a long time ago. Yeah,
I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, who'd have thought like when I first met you, like what, 4 years ago now, working in a coffee shop?
Yeah, probably about 4 years.
That you'd now be the GM of the biggest gym in Palm Springs.
Yeah,
that's a pretty wild journey.
You were poaching me for a bit. You would come, it was like every 6 months he would come in and he'd be like, Josh, I got this new gym opening up in Palm Springs. Like, you'd be perfect. We'll get you front desk manager. We'll do anything. And at the time, it didn't make sense. I was really committed to something else. And then, it just panned out actually at the right time for me to come on board. I would like to say it was smooth sailing since then, but that's not the saying that really applies. It's been a lot of learning. It's been a really humbling and rewarding journey. Like my life in the last 2 years has changed so drastically that, yes, I take responsibility for making all the choices that I've made, but it wouldn't be possible without, people like Pete, Emily, the people that I work with on a day-to-day basis, clients. All of it has built me up to the person that I am. So, yeah, who would have thought, 4 years ago when a mutual friend brought me in and was like, you got to try out Pete. Like, I know you like climbing, I know you like running, but like, he trains athletes, he trains celebrities, try it out. And I was like, nah, like, I'm not into that. That was an old part of my life. Not into training anymore. And he said, shut up, he's expensive. You're showing up, I will pay for your session. And I was like, all right, I guess I can't say no to that. So who would have thought that from point A that, we'd be here sitting in this, huge gym with lots of amazing people.
Yeah, one of the things I'm grateful for is that we got to hang out a lot before you were ever an employee, because it allowed us to like have a lot of conversations, allowed us to train together. Like, you kind of understood where I was coming from and what like I believed in and what my kind of vision for this whole thing was, even before you were an employee. So then when we brought you in, you already came from that kind of mindset.
Yeah.
So it was a very easy transition for both of us. When you think about Palm Springs going into 2026, what are your hopes for this gym specifically?
I could go into like numbers, and because I'm obsessed with numbers as somebody who has to look at spreadsheets on a weekly basis. But what really rings true to me right now is I would love to build a community that is, very vibrant, outgoing. There's like a sense of togetherness, and we have that right now. We just want more of it, and you can read between the lines there as much as you'd like, but I really want to build that community, not just with our members, but like with our staff. And so far, we've done such a great job. And I really want more of that, because it makes everyone's life easier when someone does come to you with feedback, right? When it is coming from a place of like, hey, we're in this together, but I would like this to be this way. Can you do that? As opposed to somebody who has no connection to you at all, who's just coming in and you aren't connected to them. So it just sounds like you're being critiqued as opposed to somebody trying to help you, help them, help each other. Yeah. So I think for us, it's really just building a strong community, being a big part of Palm Springs, which we're slowly becoming. I think that's that's the most inspiring goal, is just being more part of the community.
Yeah, an icon on the landscape of Palm Springs.
It's where icons are built.
Yeah. For me, I walked in today, Josh was doing a personal training session. I taught a busy class. There was a pickleball fucking party going on in the back, and it just felt like this is what we want. The club is thriving. Lots of people were here. Everybody was doing different stuff, but everyone's part of the same community, and everyone was having a good time. And that's what we really want for this facility. I mean, it's a big facility to fill. It's a big building to fill, but it's like you're saying. It's just more of what we have. Yeah. Great people, great community, everyone in diverse, like different things, just enjoying the space for what it is, and us becoming like a really important part of this community. Yeah. And you're the perfect man to do it.
Thank you. And I think sometimes we get so caught up with like numbers and goals, and because there are things that we need to be doing, but at the end of the day, sometimes you talk with one member and they tell you how much this place means to them, and then you just have to think how many people haven't had the chance to tell you that yet. And it really brings you back into this place of like why you got in it in the first place. And I think the more that we're connected with that, the easier that building that community is going to be. And the more we're going to see people playing pickleball, more personal training sessions, classes getting bigger, more events in town. And it makes my job with all the things that I have to do, even if there's days that I'm long days, it makes all that worth it. And I say that in the most non-cliche and meaningful way possible. So, it's
we
the members.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for driving that commute down that mountain. I know it's a bitch. But we're super proud of you and super optimistic for 2026.
Yeah, let's get it.
Let's do it.
Let's live limitless. Yeah.
Hey, Dan.
Hi.
Welcome to Pharos Palm Springs.
Thank you so much.
Let's start with this. How did you find fitness, or what was your kind of like road into fitness? And then ultimately, how did you find Pharos?
Okay. I started I would say I was a swimmer growing up as a young child. Yeah. And then I kind of fell out of like doing sports generally. I I started in a new high school and was convinced to do cross country. And so once I started that, I had not had a history of running. But then I got pretty far into it, ended up like cross country captain. We were state champions. Like it was, the state was Delaware though. So it's not, not the biggest fish out there, but I became a competitive runner and then went back to swimming as a high schooler. Did sports all through high school, was like very dedicated to it, did pretty well within the sort of area that I was. When I went to college, through a number of like random circumstances, I ended up on the rowing team. And so I was actually just with someone last night. I was at an alumni event for my college and met somebody who was like 10 years older than me. And she was also on the crew team. And we had this sort of like strong connection talking about, we were as part of a club sport. It was very ragtag, but at the same time, pretty competitive. And we would drive all up and down the East Coast and like race, but it was something I had never done, but it's a very intense sport.
Oh yeah.
And very much like get up in the morning. During college, my freshman year, it felt like I had like a 14-day week where I would like sleep, wake up, row, come back, take a nap.
I've known rowers that rowed in college.
Yeah.
That once they finished rowing in college, they were like, I'm never getting on a rower ever again.
Yeah.
Because it's so taxing.
Yes. I only did it for a year, and plus a little bit. It was really cutting into my grades as soon as I stopped 4.0. Like my grades went so far up, but it was also the most fun I have ever had in my entire life. Again, was staying with friends from the rowing team like last night. And then post-college, I sort of got into a lull. Like I would run sometimes and sometimes not. And then I got into comedy, which is famously not a fitness-oriented activity.
Yeah.
And so got really into that, lived in Washington, D.C., and then moved to New York City. And then I moved to L.A. and was doing comedy kind of full-time. At times, I'd tried out CrossFit, would injure myself often. I would say they were like pretty great at instruction, but I was not committed enough to all the things that go around that. So in my, actually like a time when I was probably most fit or most possible of being fit in my 20s, I was getting injured and not really doing the work, I would say, like able to like kind of commit. I guess I left out one point in there, which is like I did have a personal trainer in my early 20s when I first had a job and was sort of like hoping to get fit or like learn new things. And he was awesome. He was a great trainer. He would give me extra sessions because I think I could actually do things that a lot of his other clients couldn't do.
Right.
And I got really strong really fast because I was in my 20s. And I remember like gaining size and people like walking out of my way on the sidewalk in a way they hadn't before. So like I had all these sort of moments throughout my early life where fitness would come in and out of my life. Yeah. And then about 8 years ago, I decided to stop drinking. Comedy was very allowing of that. And then all of a sudden it was not working for me anymore. And I was sort of trying to figure out a way to meet people that was where they were not actively doing something like that. And so I found fitness classes from that. And I started taking like boot camp classes, got really into it, started going and putting my money towards it, and suddenly saw changes that I had never seen. Sort of the combination of like health factors and then nutrition, where I decided I was not going to waste my money by eating and drinking things that like went against what I was doing in class. Yeah. And I just fell in love with like working out, seeing results, and like fueling it properly. And then there came a point where I was like, well, I'm not really gaining muscle. I'm like very cut or very cut. Like that sounds, I was fit and I was in great condition. But I was also like, I'd like to build muscle. Yeah. And that was coming out of the pandemic. And I decided to take a chance and just do like a week at Pharos. And so it was my first time back into barbell weightlifting. And that's sort of how I landed at Pharos.
Very cool.
I had gotten my training certification by that time because people were asking me to train them, but I didn't have the experience with barbells.
Right.
So that was sort of my journey to get there. So.
It's interesting because what you said is very, very similar to me in that fitness has always been there. It hasn't always been the primary, but it's been the one anchor. So since I was like 14, 15, whether it was, because I did cross country as well, or whether it was cross country, or whether it was lifting weights, whether it was soccer, whatever it was always there. And then I had other like dalliances and other like things. But the one thing I found is like I would always come back to fitness, and it was like the one constant. And like as to now, like it's become like the constant in my life, and the one thing I've always been able to rely on to be the kind of anchor. Like no matter what you're going through, kind of like emotionally, I found like the gym itself has been that anchor for me that I could always go back to. And now, you know, with you coming into Pharos, you started, you know, where you just said, and then now as the head coach of Echo Park, you know, you've gone from kind of like strength to strength in that capacity. What about it do you think has really like nourished you and got you to this point where you're like, this is what I do now, kind of thing? Going from the transition from like, I'm a comedian,
right,
to I'm a head coach, like.
There are a few constants that I also have in addition to fitness, and one was also instructing. I was a lifeguard. I left that part out.
Yeah.
The pool where I grew up swimming was also the pool where it was my first job. And they were like, you're going to teach lessons as part of this. And so literally they were just like, here are a bunch of 6-year-olds, teach them to swim. And that was like all the instruction they gave me. So I taught all these kids to swim, and I started to realize that I loved teaching. And like working with beginners, honestly. Yeah. So that was at 16 years old. I was doing that. I would also say like the arts were always a constant for me as well. That's also a touchstone that I always come back to. So then, you know, I was doing comedy, but then all of a sudden I started to get this itch to teach and instruct and coach. And I did that for 15 years. And I would say for a long time, maybe for better or for worse, when I started at Pharos, I was like, if you think I'm a good coach, I'm a better improv teacher. Like I'm very good at that. That's something that I know that I have gotten very good at, but that's because I had done it for a decade. And this sort of literally improvisation to get people what they need was something that I was able to do.
Yeah.
So when it came to instructing, it was actually like, this is something I feel very comfortable with. This is something that I really enjoyed doing with beginners and helping them fall in love with something. And I do think there's like an artistic quality to it, whether it's the music that you put behind it or just sort of the way that you communicate the thing that you are trying to say to them, you know, to your clients, to either inspire them or just help them understand what they are doing in the context of a bigger workout or even a round of programming.
That's what I would say, like about a great coach. A great coach, it is that combination of I'm an instructor, I'm an entertainer, I'm a friend, I'm the boss. Like you have to be all those things at once.
Yeah.
And when you can find that mix and communicate it in a way that it's part of your personality, you're kind of bringing in all these different elements of your personality. It's like from the performance to the teacher to the comedian, like I'm sure it all comes into your presentation in front of a class. And which leads me to my next kind of question, which is, what do you think your main gift is as a head coach? Why do you think you have become so popular in this kind of field?
I do think it's empathy and listening. Noticing when someone is struggling. Like there are times there are people who don't show weakness at all, or kind of, but it's very easy to tell when somebody is kind of calling out for help without asking for it. And at least to me, or that's something that I think is a strength of mine. I just had an Uber driver last night who kept asking me if everything was okay in the car, and I was like, yeah, it's fine. Like it was like kind of too much on that. So it's like finding the balance. I was like, the temperature is fine. I don't understand why you keep asking. It's only when I make eye contact with you through the mirror, you're like asking me, am I okay? And I don't think it's quite that. I think it's like noticing things and helping somebody at a moment when they either are too afraid to ask or maybe don't even know they need to have some coaching. And I think or hope people appreciate that. I'm sure I overdo it sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's like two of our mantras basically, which is notice the little things, which I think is what you're saying, and then also connect before you coach. You have the ability to connect with someone on a very, very normal level that they feel very comfortable with, and I think that's really important. Because obviously at PHAROS we're coaching multiple people. Like there could be a room of 20 people of multiple different personalities. And finding a way to connect with all those different personalities is kind of like a unique skill set. And I think a lot of us that are in PHAROS, because Emily came from a theater background, I came from a theater background, you came from so I think there is that element of a social ability to be amongst people and to find common ground with different people that becomes really important as a coach.
Yeah.
It's a way of, not being threatening, but also not just kind of like pandering, or, you're trying to, get a point across, and you're trying to instruct. So there's a serious side to it, but there's also a softer side to it, which allows them to let you in.
Yeah.
Which I think is a gift that you have.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like maybe my philosophy is basically everyone can do this.
Yeah.
It was the same in teaching comedy. It's like everyone can do this. Sometimes it is an element of can you get some of the barriers out of the way so that you can do this? And that usually involves self-reflection. So I kind of feel like everyone can do this workout. You might have to modify some things to do it, or you might have to address that you can't go 100% at every single moment here. Or you need to get over your own insecurities and look dumb for a second to figure out how something works.
Yeah.
But everyone can do this, whether you are, to me, the ideal class is like somebody bench pressing 55 pounds next to somebody benching 255. Exactly. And they both have good form, and they both know how to properly do everything from put the weights away to actually do the press. Right? Like all the things that are required.
Yeah. It's like, it's the same workout, just on different levels.
Yeah.
But it's the same workout, and they both feel very comfortable in their version of that workout.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about the future.
Sure.
So you've come to this point in your career. 3 years down the line, where would you hope to be as a coach and as within the PHAROS kind of umbrella?
Is this my review?
No, I just interested.
I'm totally kidding. That's like such a great question, because I do sometimes feel like we all do it at certain times. You go on autopilot. It's like, this is the way I instruct this class. And then you sort of, occasionally someone will be there or something will come up and you're like, I need more information, like I maybe have more to learn in this particular area. So I think for me, it is, I don't think this is necessarily 3 years down the line, but just sort of broadening the knowledge base that I have on instructing, especially the major lifts that we do. I feel like I can communicate those things. However, saying things in a different way often helps people who've been like hearing you say the same thing every Tuesday night for 3 years. It's not, I like try to be like, hey, this is something new. Here's a different cue to think about.
I think it's also like the more you know, the more you realize you don't know kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the longer you're in this game, the more you meet someone who has a specific problem that you need to fix. That's like, oh, I'm not sure I know how to fix that. I better go and learn how to fix that. There's always something else that comes up. So I think for all of us, there's always those opportunities to learn more. And then, I think for a lot of us now that have been, PHAROS is, we've got our 8th anniversary coming up, but really it's a 9-year kind of phase. And kind of the business is at the point now where we have this leadership team that you're a part of, and that, I'm excited to see what this leadership team does from here on out, because I feel like all the roads we've been building for the past 8 years have led to this point and this leadership team, which I'm super proud of. I'm really excited to see what you guys do with the next phase, because I think it's changing from me and Emily like telling people what to do kind of thing, to people like taking ownership of their kind of like situation and world, and then being like, I want to do this, I want to take it here, I want to take it there. And that's what excites me, when people are like, you know, when you come to me and say, I got this idea, I'm great, let's run with it. Like, that's what excites me.
I like that too. I guess the thought that I had with that is, I don't say I know more than anybody else, but I do think having our classes have an experience for our clients, so that it feels like that it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. That it is not just functional, but entertaining, but not like a show.
Right.
But just enough to keep you coming back and see the value in what you're doing, and have it be the best part of your day. Because I've certainly been a member of the gym and had better and worse experiences. So I come from that background. I would like for that to be part of sort of how I like to give a good experience. I hope that's what people are getting. I'd like to show others how to do that. But then also, I think always gearing what we do towards beginners or people who are traditionally feeling left out of fitness or particular things. For instance, like we've been talking a lot about, I've been talking a lot about women wanting to do more upper body work, but not necessarily come to build on Tuesday when we're bench pressing, or how to get an inroad into that so that everybody is now aligned and feels, so inroads on areas in which maybe culture or the world or just even the way bodies function leave people out from certain aspects of fitness, and allowing people to find their on-ramp into it.
Opening more doors, basically.
That's a better way of putting it, yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
All right, Shep. Recently became the GM of Echo Park. Big responsibility. What made you want to take on that challenge?
I think it was just a natural kind of transition anyway. And also, I had a little injury. So I was kind of like, I can't coach as much as I would really love to and like to, but this would just allow me to continue to be a big part of the gym and a part of the community, and, make it grow in a way that I think that, it needs and it wants. And so just big shoes to fill though with Kevin. So,
big shoes to fill. Yeah. Kevin was great. And everyone brings something different to the table, and you have a ton of experience. You are I think you were actually the first coach I ever employed.
Probably.
Yeah. And
that long ago.
Back in 2017, and you were a coach with us for a while, and then you kind of went off to be a dad, and do that for a few years, and then came back to us, and then were coaching for a number of years, and then obviously became GM. So I felt, and me and Emily felt, you understood the club, you understood what we were trying to do, and you had like a really good base, and you knew the members, they knew you.
Yeah.
So for us, it was an easy transition. What has surprised you about the kind of GM role at the club? Has there been stuff you're like, oh wow, I didn't realize X?
I mean, other than the fact that it's just a lot, right? You don't realize just all the behind the scenes things that need to be taken care of, on a day-to-day basis. So that's kind of, the systems that you got to put in place, and nothing has shocked me.
Yeah, it's just a lot. It's just the volume.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And with your fitness journey, because you were a baseball player in college, then you found CrossFit. You were a CrossFitter for a number of years, and then you've had this recent injury. What's kind of your outlook now on fitness, and what do you personally? What road do you want to go down in fitness in the next few years?
For me, it's just all about moving as well as you can move, right? So proper movement patterns. I know, at least for me, I'm a competitive person, so I kind of looked at the person next to me and oh, they're doing that weight, I kind of need to do that weight. But as I've gotten older, kids, etc., that has to tone down just a little bit. But I think it's always going to be a little bit of that kind of hybrid, if you will, like some strength training with some conditioning. But probably more of the bulk of what I'm going to be doing from this point forward is kind of separating the two in essence, right? So you've got more strength specific work and then more conditioning specific work. and then sprinkle in a little bit of like the hybrid stuff here and there, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's just more,
Totally.
Getting along.
Well, I got the perfect gym for that.
Really? Oh, wait.
So with this role that you're in now, as general manager, you've got all these employees under you, all these coaches under you. What do you think is your biggest kind of asset? What about you makes you good at this job?
I think that coaches are the heart and the soul of the gym, and being a coach myself and coming from that kind of world and that space, I think I understand the coaches really well.
Yeah.
So I'm able to have conversations that somebody who might have just been managing another, not a gym, but managing something else might not be able to have, that kind of rapport with somebody. So I think that's my biggest asset, is that I understand the coaches. I know what they're asking for. I know what they want. I know it's not really, there's no deciphering on my end.
Yeah.
It's like, I can tell what you want, and I'm going to try to help you get it. So, what are
the biggest challenges you face as the general manager of Echo Park, would you say?
Making everybody happy.
Yeah.
That's so.
Yeah. It's a real balance.
The most, I want to give, if somebody's eager to coach and XYZ, I want to give them more opportunity, but sometimes
there's only so much
you can give. So that's definitely the hardest part, is just, tempering everybody's expectations and making sure that, everybody's as happy as they possibly can be.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what I'm excited about Echo Park, obviously, we've got this refurbishment going on at the bathrooms. We've just redone the loft. We're redoing the boxing area. We're going to go into 2026 in a really good place in that club, I think. So I'm super excited for that, and I think you do have a really good team there, really good coaches there.
For sure.
Great membership, obviously. We're around like the 900 member kind of mark of that club, so there's a lot of positive things from there. What are your kind of hopes for next year in terms of where would you like to be? Kind of, if you could picture yourself at the end of 2026, where would you like to be?
I know that I've been speaking with a few of the coaches, but just more community-based, workouts and things like that.
Yeah.
I feel like, not that they have fallen off, but they're hard to put together, and they're hard to make sure everybody is, really wants to get into this.
Yeah.
So really listening to our membership and listening to the coaches who are in it with them day in and day out, like what do they want and what can we deliver them that's gonna, make that Saturday, make that Sunday the best Saturday or Sunday that they can possibly have. So I think more of those, and I think I know that, we're a big gym, but we're still community based. And so I want to really push that community aspect of it. And, you make the people that are, in that community there for life, right? Like, obviously if they move or something, but, the people that are there, they're there.
Yeah.
And they tell all their friends, they bring more people. And that's what I want to foster, is that sort of feeling on just a bigger scale. Because
love that. All right, brother. I appreciate it.
Sweet.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. I'm trying.
You're doing great. Doing great.